origin of Mother's Day?
No, you can bring it up. I got something. Shalom, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, we want to give all praise, glory, and honor to the Most High, Yahweh, in the name of His Son, Yahweh Shai. And what we're going to do, we're going to basically go over articles discussing Mother's Day and whether or not we should be celebrating Mother's Day. You know what I mean? And Kazapaya has an article I believe we want to start with. It was sent out in the group chat. We also sent out other brief articles that we're going to be going through, and we're going to match it with scriptures. And if you have any precepts as usual, say Salakia and bring out your precepts.
Bring out your precepts.
You know what I mean?
It's good to know our history, but it's also good to know history of the other nations too. Mm-hmm. And also to figure out why do we follow some of these customs that we follow. And some of the meanings were innocent in the beginning, but after it becomes commercialized, the devil gets a hold of it and starts making money off it. And Mother's Day is one of those examples, and it's got a dark ending to the story too. And Mother's Day. Can y'all bring that article up? The brothers that got it in the group, I think I sent it to all the brothers.
I just did.
Okay.
John.
It's not that long of an article, so let's read that. All right? And ladies, just follow along, okay? If you look at someone's phone or whatever. Why the founder of Mother's Day turned against it. Anna Jarvis, who founded Mother's Day in 1908, passionately opposed its growing commercialization and eventually campaigned against the holiday. Anna Jarvis, who had no children of her own, conceived of Mother's Day as an occasion for honoring the sacrifices of mothers made for their children. In May 1908, she organized the first official Mother's Day events at the church in her hometown of Grafton, West Virginia, as well as at Wanamaker's department store in Philadelphia, where she lived at the time. Jarvis then began writing letters to newspapers and politicians pushing for the adoption of Mother's Day as an official holiday. By 1912, many other churches, towns, and states were holding Mother's Day celebrations, and Jarvis had established the Mother's Day International Association. A hard-fought campaign paid off in 1914 when President Woodrow Wilson signed a bill officially establishing the second Sunday in May as Mother's Day. Jarvis conceived of Mother's Day as an intimate occasion, a son or daughter honoring the mother they knew and loved, and not a celebration of all mothers. For this reason, she always stressed the singular mothers, with the apostrophe S, rather than the plural. She soon grew disillusioned as Mother's Day almost immediately became centered on the buying and giving of printed cards, flowers, candies, and other gifts. Seeking to regain control over the holiday she founded, Jarvis began openly campaigning against those who profited from Mother's Day, including confectioners, florists, and other retailers. She launched numerous lawsuits against groups using the name Mother's Day and eventually spent much of her sizable inheritance on legal fees. In 1925, when an organization called America War Mothers used Mother's Day as an occasion for fundraising and selling carnations, Jarvis crashed their convention in Philadelphia and was arrested for disturbing the peace. Later, she even attacked the First Lady, Eleanor Roosevelt, for using Mother's Day as an occasion to raise money for charity. By the 1940s, Jarvis had disowned the holiday altogether and even actively lobbied the government to see it removed from the calendar. Her efforts were to no avail. However, Mother's Day had taken a life of its own. As a commercial gold mine, largely destitute and unable to profit from the massively successful holiday she founded, Jarvis died in 1948 in Philadelphia's Marshall Square Sanitarium. The sad history of Mother's Day founder Anna Jarvis had done nothing to slow down the popularity and commercialism of the holiday. According to the annual spending survey conducted by the National Retail Federation, Americans spent an average of $168.94 on Mother's Day in 2013 and a whopping 11% increase in 2012. In total, Mother's Day spends exceeds $20 billion each year, according to the National Retail Foundation, in addition to more traditional gifts ranging from cards, flowers, and candy to the clothing and jewelry. One survey showed that the unprecedented 14.1% of gift givers plan to buy their moms high-tech gadgets like smartphones and tablets. So we're going to end that interesting story right there.
About money.
Yeah, I didn't know she was from Philadelphia, though.
Yeah.
Well, she was from West Virginia.
Yeah, she
Oh,
was
Virginia.
But
She
she
came up to
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Wow, man.
God, that's pretty much just the origins of this country. And, you know, just from the door, it already had the wicked spirit on it because it went into spending. And if you go into the scriptures, what we're going to do, we're going to show it had the same wicked spirit. Because brothers was selling things related to the Queen Mother of Heaven, which was commercialized, and they had a problem with our good brother Paul rebuking this thing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
God.
But let's start with the origins of Mother Day. It's inside the same messenger group, and we'll start with part 1.
So, you want... I got that?
Yeah, you should have it.
You want to Samaritans?
It's at the top. It's right underneath of what he just read.
I got it.
Starts with part 1.
Oh, you want to start with Semiramis? All right.
I'll start with that.
Yeah, Semiramis, the mother and wife of Nimrod, Baal. She was called Ishtar, pronounced Easter. Istere in English, Astarte, Ashtaroth, and Isis in Egypt. Now Mary in the Catholic Church. Go ahead.
You skipped part 1.
No, I didn't. It's above that.
Part 1?
At least on my phone it is. I'm sorry.
This is how you said it.
I'll read it.
Part 1.
Go ahead.
Day, part 1.
Mother's Day, Part 1. Nimrod's wife, Semiramis, became pregnant following an affair. At around the same time, Nimrod died. In order to assuage any suggestions of her unfaithfulness, Semiramis claimed that at the time of his death, Nimrod used sun rays to impregnate her. It's worth pausing to note that Tammuz was considered to have been divinely conceived, which probably forms the basis of the Immaculate Conception. Anyway, Semiramis maintained that Tammuz was indeed the reincarnated Nimrod, making her both his wife and mother.
That's disgusting.
All in all, Tammuz was a big deal to the pagans, so much that they mourned his passing for 40 days, one for each of his years on earth.
Salakia, and that's where you get your Lent holidays from too. You know, like the Catholics do. They mourn for them 40 days. They put the ash on their head and they give up something for 40 days for this false god. And as you have seen, you know, it's even been poured over into the black churches now, and they bringing this in the church so that they give them the celebration of Nimrod. And that's also where you get the eating of your Easter ham from. You know what I mean? He was killed by a boar, and after the 40 days, it's symbolic of him overcoming the boar and being reborn as Tammuz, as the sun god, with her being impregnated by the sun. You know what I mean? It's a crazy story, man.
God. All in all, Tammuz was a big deal to the pagans, so much that they mourned his passing 40 days, one for each of his years on earth. This was then adopted by the Christians and turned into Lent, a period in which Christians are required to relinquish something they desire, usually fatty food related, in recognition of the 40 days Jesus Christ spent fasting in the desert before being crucified.
From there, let's go to Colossians 2 and verse 8.
This is the book of Colossians chapter 2 verse 8. Beware, lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after Hamashiach.
So you see, they bringing this in the church as well. Mother's Day is the second Sunday in May, and they want you to bring this in there, and they bringing the worship of another God into the church. You know what I mean? And we know that the Most High God, He don't want you to share or prescribe any partners with Him bringing this in the church. So by doing that, they breaking one of the first 10 commandments in itself. If you go to Exodus chapter 20 and you start at verse 12.
Yep. This is the book of Exodus, chapter 20, verse 12. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy.
No, Exodus chapter 20, verse 12.
Salakia. It's the book of Exodus, chapter 20, verse
Oh,
12.
no, I'm wrong too. You're right. I'm wrong.
On the Sabbath. What was
Yeah,
the Sabbath,
on
right?
20, but verse 2.
Okay. This is the book of Exodus, chapter 20, verse 2. I am Yahweh, your power, which I brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me.
And when you bring this in your church and you celebrate Mother's Day with your mother, you put another god or a false goddess before the Most High God in doing so by celebrating this. And as you see, this is the false god with Semiramis, and she had made herself a goddess in Babylon. Go ahead.
Verse 4. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath.
So she also referred to herself as the Queen Mother of Heaven. You know what I mean? We also know that she wasn't a goddess at all. And we can prove that by going to, you got that verse?
Is that Jeremiah?
Yeah.
It's Jeremiah 10. Sure, Salakia.
I got 44 and 15 through 19. But it's in there twice though.
Okay. Let's do the one you got.
Okay.
15 through 19.
Yeah.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 44, verse 15.
Go ahead.
Then all the men which knew what their wives, Salakia, then all the men which knew that their wives had burnt incense unto other gods, and all the women that stood by, a great multitude, even all the people that dwelt in the land of Egypt, and Pathros, answered Jeremiah, saying, As for the word that thou hast spoken unto us in the name of Yahweh, we will not hearken unto thee, but we will certainly do whatsoever thing goeth forth out of thine own mouth, to burn incense unto the Queen of heaven, and to pour out drink offerings unto her, as we have done. We and our fathers, our kings, and our princes in the cities of Judah, and the streets of Jerusalem, for then we plenty of victuals, and were well and saw no evil.
So what they was doing is they was giving praise to the Queen Mother of Heaven, and they were saying as though that they did no evil, but they are doing evil because they trying to prescribe a partner with the Most High God. And what they doing is taking Semiramis and saying that she is their that she is their goddess instead of the Most High God. And most of her servants are women, and what they're doing right here is they instituting and so forth the feminist movement. Even back then, you know, her servants were prostitutes, wives that ain't listening to their husband, and she putting a spirit on them to go away from the Most High.
Right.
She is also known by many different names. As you can see, if we go into the Zondervan Advanced Bible Dictionary version of who she is. And in the Zondervan Advanced Bible Dictionary, it says that she goes by the name of Asherah, Astarte, and the plural Asherah is for many different fertility gods. Mm-hmm. She also was known in Babylon as Ishtar. In the Greek, she is Astarte. And in canon, she was known as the consort of Baal. Now, in the book of Matthew, chapter 12 and 24, it lets you know who Baal is.
That's pretty much a demon.
Yeah. And she is the consort of Baal. And we can bring that out.
What's that, Matthew?
Yeah, Matthew 12, 24.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 12, verse 24. But when the Pharisees heard it, they said, "This fellow doth not cast out devils, but by Beelzebul, the prince of the devils."
So, Astarte, or Diana, or the Queen Mother of Heaven, she is the consort of Baal, which is the prince of the devils. So she is a demon herself.
Right.
You know what I mean? And we being silly, we following behind this, and we already told to honor our mothers and stuff all year long, and we don't even need to celebrate this day or commemorate this day because it has nothing at all to do with the children of Israel. We already given holy days in Leviticus 23 that we should be following behind. So, as you know, in the Ten Commandments as well, it tells you in Exodus 20 and 12 that we should be honoring our mother and father anyway. 20 and 12, Salakia. And it reads, "Honor thy mother and father, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee."
Right.
So we're supposed to be honoring our parents in righteousness all the days long anyway, not just this one day, because this one day you're being tricked into following this false goddess in the first place. You're also being extorted and being made merchandise of as well, you know. I think we had a report that showed how much money that we spend celebrating these wicked holidays as well.
That was like, back in 2012, it was like 20 billion. So we got 10 years later, something like that. You know it's much more than that. So Mother's Day has been commercialized. They guys got flowers out there right now. They're coming down the street.
Yeah, they selling them out there.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
I mean, we was guilty of selling flowers too. I was out there peddling them, you know, before I came to the truth. I didn't know better. I just I was just doing that what I was taught, and then we all did pretty much what we've been taught.
over the whole black community, man, we still owe $1 trillion a year.
Yeah.
So it goes to every aspect to whatever is going on.
Con, exactly. Yep.
Oh yeah, it says tracking the numbers. The data tells us that Americans plan to spend over $28.1 billion on Mother's Day, and this is from 2021. This is an increase of $1.4 billion compared to 2020, the first year of the pandemic. Bet your bottom dollar the increase for 2022 will match $1.4 billion and may even top it. These kinds of patterns and trends can be seen by looking back over the last decade. In 2012, the U.S. Mother's Day spent $18.6 billion. In 2013, they spent $20.7. In 2014, they spent $19.9 billion. In 2015, they spent $21.2 billion. In 2016, they spent $21.4 billion. And in 2017, they spent $23.6 billion. I mean, we just going out of our way to celebrate and keep these heathen customs when we shouldn't be doing this in the first place, you know? And then on top of that, we trying to make something righteous out of it when we was told not to do this and learn not the ways of the heathens in the first place.
Right.
You know? Go to the book of Job, chapter 14, verse 4.
Job 14:4.
Yeah.
is the book of Job, chapter 14, verse 4. Who can bring a clean thing out of an unclean thing? Not one.
None of us can make a clean thing out of this thing. And if you go back in to the Mother's Day Part 2, you're going to see through different cultures, we just kept escalating these things and bringing it back to a Mother's Day celebration or immaculate conception between mother and child. If somebody can read Mother's Day Part 2. You got it?
Yeah, I got it.
All right.
Salakia. Ancient Mother's Day Part 2. Ancient Egyptians held an annual festival to honor Isis, one of the most popular and enduring goddesses of ancient Egypt, who represented the ideal mother and wife and was the patroness of the nature and magic. According to ancient Egypt mythology, Isis was the wife of Osiris, who was also her brother.
So each one of these Mother's Day, they got every type of different wicked story behind it too, you know. Even from the beginning, it has a wicked story behind it. Like, she got pregnant and she had a baby by somebody else. She claimed she had an immaculate conception and she was pregnant by the sun rays, which was built on a lie. And then you go into Egypt, they got a crazy story. She gets pregnant by her brother. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
Okay. Isis was the wife of Osiris, who was her brother. When Osiris was murdered by their envious brother, Set, Isis gathered Osiris' body parts that had been scattered around Egypt and used them to impregnate herself. She then gave birth to Horus, who avenged his father's death and killed Set, becoming the first ruler of Egypt. As a result, Isis was regarded as the mother of all pharaohs and became symbolic of motherhood, and annual festival was held in her honor.
Hey, read Part 3.
Mother's Day Part 3. The Encyclopedia Britannica 1959 edition. Mother's Day, a festival derived from the custom of mother worship. In ancient Greece, formal mother worship with ceremonies to Cybele or Rhea, the mother of the gods, were performed on the Ides of March throughout Asia Minor. Mother's Day dates back to the ancient cultures in Greece and Rome and even further. And both cultures, mother goddesses, queen of heaven, were worshipped during the springtime with religious festivals. The ancient Greeks paid tribute to the powerful goddess Rhea, the wife of Cronus, known as the mother of gods, queen of heaven. Similarly, evidence of a 3-day Roman festival mid-March called Hilaria to honor the Roman goddess Magna Mater, or Great Mother, date back to 250 BCE.
Huh.
You want me to read that footnote?
Yeah, go ahead.
Jeremiah chapter 7, verse 18. Ooh. So this is a nice precept. Jeremiah chapter 7, verse 18. The children gather wood, and the fathers kindle the fire, and the women knead their dough to make cakes to the queen of heaven, and to pour out our drink offerings unto other gods, that they may provoke me to anger.
And as you see it, and you bring it up to today, some people going to throw their first cookout for their mothers and stuff. Instead of gathering wood, you're going to gather your charcoal and stuff. You're baking all type of cakes and goodies and stuff. I mean, we all been a part of it. We done did it for our mothers and stuff like that out in the world, you know what I mean? Take your mother out to dinner. You know, it's the same thing. It's just brought up to today in a different sequence. They was doing it back then. So you can see the similarities, and it's the same custom, you know?
That's right, the same spirit is back on the earth, you know?
And
History just repeating itself. You know, it's like we still living out the same prophecies that they living out, following the ways of the heathen, the customs of the Greeks and the Romans. You know, but now that we got to be out, we came out of that mindset. You know, there's traditions and celebrations that we got to hold and be zealous. That's in Israel, like keeping feast days and the laws and the statutes, which is our what inheritance. So these things is what the Most High commands us to do, as we look and see how our people have been led astray by following all these pagan practices. You know, and it's just continue to destroy our people. You know, mentally and spiritually.
Yeah, people look at you crazy because you're not celebrating these holidays nowadays. They look at you like you doing something wrong. You try and persuade them as the watchman not to keep these things, you know? And they don't know what's going on. They clueless. They don't know where it comes from or anything like that. And a lot of our people, they don't want to do any research at all to see where this comes from, to see that it lines up through different cultures, going through different false god worship throughout centuries, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And it's mind-boggling that they don't recognize this stuff or even see it. And then some of them, they don't want to see it.
Yep. Can I grab this precept? Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 30.
Go ahead.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 30. Take heed to thyself that thou be not snared by following them, that's the other nations, after that they be destroyed from before them, and thou inquire not after their gods. So we don't want nothing to do with any other pagan holidays. You know, how did these nations serve their gods? Even so, I will likewise. But that's not going to be our culture. Is to follow their ways.
I got another precept too.
Mm-hmm.
This is the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14, verse 16. And it reads, thus in process of time, an ungodly custom grown strong was kept as a law, and graven images were worshipped by the commandments of kings. And as we were brought into this country, as you see, what was the lady name? I can't remember. You just read it first. Ann Jarvis. Mm-hmm. She brought them to this country, and then they made it become pretty much woman worship again. You know what I mean?
Gradualism.
Gradually, they didn't want it to become that, and it just became like the regular festivals of its origins in this time. You know what I mean?
It's kind of ironic that she didn't have children and didn't even have a husband, but she's like the origin of Mother's Day.
And at the same time, the whore of Babylon and Semiramis, it also symbolically represents the whore that sets on many waters, with this being Babylon the Great. You know what I mean? And that being a false idol. In all of these cultures, bringing it up to today. And even up to today, Diana is Diana worship. Diana is even Wonder Woman, you know what I mean? So they bring it up in pop culture too, and a lot of people don't know that. But we sitting up and we sitting at the screen and we clapping our hands like, yeah, and then they made it the goddess in front of your face. You know what I mean? And our children are following behind it too. From there, let's go to the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 20 through 22. I had another precept I wanted to bring out. I can't remember where that was.
1 Corinthians chapter 20 or 2 Corinthians? It's like it.
I believe it. Is it first or is it second?
We're not going to get to chapter 20 in any of the Corinthians.
Chapter 10.
10 and
I
20.
mean, yeah, chapter 10.
What is it? 1 Corinthians 10?
Looking for a couple doubles.
Yeah,
10 and 20.
Okay.
20 through
I
22.
got a precept on the point you just made.
Go ahead.
Jeremiah Isaiah chapter 3 verse 12 says, as for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err, and destroy the way of thy paths. That's what a Mother's Day is.
Right. Exactly.
And it was taught by the nation.
It was taught by the nation, exactly.
That's what it does. It's to lead our ways off of the path of righteousness.
Right, because women worship is out of order.
Yeah.
You know, the Most High had
idolatry.
order. He had the father, the son,
Yeah.
the man, the woman, and the child. In this nation, they put the women above the man.
Even the modern day wedding ritual, it represents Diana worship. When the man gets down on his knee and stuff to the woman, that's not how that's supposed to go when he gives her that ring. That's all Diana worship. That all comes from that. as well.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, that Corinthians, is that First Corinthians or 2 Corinthians?
First
First
Corinthians chapter 10, verse 20. But I say that the things which the Gentiles sacrifice, they sacrifice to devils and not to the Most High. And I would not that ye should have fellowship with devils. Verse 21. You cannot drink the cup of the Lord and the cup of devils. You cannot be partakers of the Lord's table and the table of devils.
Yeah, but tomorrow you ain't going to be able to tell that Christian pastor that because they're going to be having the Mother's Day celebration right up in the church. That's how it's going to be, you know? And they're going to think it's all righteous and stuff. And then after that, on top of that, they're going to throw a Women's Day ceremony too. You know what I mean? So they're going to give you the bonus one up in there.
Yeah. What's that? They honor me with their mouths, but their heart is far from me.
Yeah, that's Matthew 15.
That's Matthew 15. Or Mark 7.
Mark 7:7.
Mark 7:7. That's Brad at. Mark 7:7. See, and first of all, a lot of, our people, they still worship on the wrong day. And Sunday worship was brought in by Constantine. So they're in error right then and there, and then they're following doctrine that's not biblical. So, that's strike 2. And then you add Mother's Day, that's strike 3. So what's that? Matthew chapter 7.
No, it's Mark. He said Mark 7:7.
sorry, Mark.
I have quoted in Matthew.
I got you. Mark 7:7. Let's start at 6. Come on. This is the book of Mark, chapter 7, verse 6. He answered and said unto them, well, Isaiah prophesied of you hypocrites, as it is written.
Slow down.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Okay. This people honoreth me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. Howbeit, in vain do they worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men. Verse 8. Well, I'm going to stop at verse 7. I think the point is made in verse 7.
Come on.
The commandments of men are being taught in the churches. Because the first thing, exactly, they're going to come there on Sunday and Mother's Day, stand up, and and the mother's going to get a celebration of, I'm quite sure, a carnation or a flower. But that's all pagan worship.
I like 18. You can bring it up.
That's all pagan worship, Verse 8, for laying aside the commandment of the Most High, ye hold the tradition of men.
And that's what we doing.
Okay.
We holding the tradition of man, and we,
God.
taking the Most High command, just putting that to the side. Like to wash the pots and cups, waiting for that thing to dry. We're gonna put that over there and wait for that later. We're gonna follow the commandment of man. Go ahead.
They're saying that the service, they're gonna do the songs and all that.
Yeah.
They're gonna act like it's from the Lord.
Yeah.
I was gonna bring out the same point.
Yeah.
In Ezekiel, we spoke of the same thing. So it would be Ezekiel chapter 33, verse 30 and down. And it says, also, thou son of man, the children of thy people still are talking against thee by the walls and in the doors of the houses, and speak one to another, every one to his brother, saying, come, I pray you, and hear what is the word that cometh from the Lord. And they came unto thee as the people cometh, and they sit before thee as my people, and they hear thy words, but they will not do them. For with their mouth they show much love, but their heart goeth after their covetousness. And lo, thou art unto them as a very lovely song of one that hath a pleasant voice, and can play well on an instrument. For they hear thy words, but they do them not. And when this cometh to pass, lo, it will come, then shall they know that a prophet has been among them.
God.
What's that verse again?
That was Ezekiel
33.
33, 30, and 33.
Yeah, yep, exactly.
That's
Wow,
what they're going to do tomorrow. They're going to come for that show, and the pastor's going to say how this day is a day that the Lord ordained and all that. And
Yep.
you're here, you're being godly, and you're doing what you're supposed to do.
Yep.
And then they're going to sing, and they're going to play them instruments and all that.
Exactly.
And they're going to show much love with their mouth.
That's
but
true.
with the words of that Bible that's there, they ain't
Yeah.
being open, and ain't going to do them.
Ain't gonna do what the word says, exactly.
The main course is
Excellent.
that plate. That's the main course right there.
That's the main course.
That's the
Okay.
main course.
Pass that
Clean.
down twice.
Yeah,
You
they
know,
gonna live.
I was going to bring that up. I was going to say, yeah, because they making merchandise to the people, you know what I mean? And they give that feel-good sermon and stuff. And the Most High said he hate the feast days, you know what I mean? And he said, take away from you the singing, the sound of the noise and all that. He don't want to hear none of that stuff. But
Right.
they going to act like it's for the Most High. But then you put woman worship in, and it's blatant that they putting woman worship in it too as well. You know what I mean? And it all goes back to these pagan roots. You know what I mean? And it has a spirit on it. And that's what people don't realize. When you celebrate these holidays, it's enchantment. So you invoking these spirits from this time all past. Because it's been passed down from cultures. They just changed the name, but it all has the same spirit on it. You know what I mean? All of it. From there, we're going to go to the book of Acts, chapter 19, 24 through 41. And this is what Paul was dealing with at the time, you know? And you can bring this up today, too, because you see the things that's happening now. You know, people is selling stuff. They bringing stuff for people free to buy so they can exploit us. You know what I mean? And that's what it's all about. And it's really about exploiting the children of Israel, because they say that we spend more money than anybody in this economy. You know what I mean? We the cog. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
Well, everybody gets that Acts. Before I'm gonna read real quick on that spirit you just talked about.
Come on.
In Jude verse 18 and 19, it says, "How did they told you there should be mockers in the last time?" That's what they are. They mock God. They come in there and they put on that show. And they act as if they're worshiping God and show love with their mouth, but really they won't do the words. Those are
Right.
mockers.
They're
They
mockers.
just people that can't become to argue. That's mockers too.
Yeah,
They make a
scoffing.
mockery of the worship of
Of
the
the
Most
word of
High.
God, yeah, absolutely. Yep.
And it says in the last time, which we know we in the last times. And this is one of the ways that we know it, what we see with these holidays like Mother's Day, Father's Day. And it says, who should walk after their own ungodly lusts. These be they who separate themselves sensual, having not the spirit. See,
All
because
in
they
their
don't have
feelings.
the spirit, exactly what you was talking
Right.
about. And they follow their own ungodly lusts. What feels good and looks good to them.
Right.
That song and dance routine.
What precept was that?
That was Jude.
18,
it's only
19.
one chapter, so it's verse 8.
Jude,
Okay.
Jude 18, 19.
Excellent precept.
Come on.
God.
You want to start a little higher than that, or you
Yeah,
want
we're
to
going to
start
start at 21.
All right.
This is the book of Acts, chapter 19, verse 21. After these things were ended, Paul proposed in the Spirit, when he had passed through Macedonia and Achaia, to go to Jerusalem, saying, after I have been there, I must also see Rome. Verse 22. So he sent into Macedonia 2 men of them that ministered unto him, Timotheus and Erastus. But he himself stayed in Asia for a season. At the same time, there arose no small stir about that way. For a certain man named Demetrius, a silversmith, which made silver shrines for Diana.
So out there, he's making silver shrines for so-called Mother's Day at this time for the goddess Diana. Back then, go ahead.
Brought no small gain unto the craftsmen.
So he sat there, he making money off of the people too as well, just like modern day.
He getting paid.
He making flowers and stuff. He getting paid back then, doing the same damn thing.
God.
Go ahead.
Verse 25. Whom he called together with the workmen of like occupation, and said, Sirs, ye know that by this craft we have our wealth.
So right here, you're getting together with the other men who making this too. Like, yo, man, you know we making money like this, man. We can't let nothing happen to this. Go ahead.
Moreover, ye see and hear that not alone at Ephesus, but almost throughout all Asia, this Paul had persuaded and turned away much people, saying that there be no gods which are made with hands.
Con. And it's just like us nowadays too. We try to persuade people not to do this ungodly custom too. You know what I mean? You got people out there, man, don't listen to them, man. They in a cult, man. You ain't gotta listen to that, man. You do what you want, man. The Most High won't forgive you for that. It's not the case, man. Go ahead.
Verse 27. So that not only this our craft is in danger to be set at naught, but also that the temple of the great goddess Diana should be despised and her magnificence should be destroyed, whom all Asia and the world worship.
You know what I mean? So we just went through the cultures. We show you that the whole world, going through different names, they was worshiping the same goddess and making merchandise off of it.
Same
and our
spirit.
people was there too. And we make they going along with it and they making money off of us. Go ahead.
Verse 28. And when they heard these sayings, they were full of wrath and cried out, saying, Great is Diana of the Ephesians. And the whole city was filled with confusion. And having caught Gaius and Aristarchus, men of Macedonia, Paul's companions in travel, they rushed with one accord into the theater. And when Paul would have entered in unto the people, the disciples suffered him not. And certain of the chief of Asia, which were his friends, sent unto him, desiring him that he would not adventure himself into the theater. Some therefore cried one thing, and some another, for the assembly was confused, and the more part knew not wherefore they were come together.
So these people was doing this custom and they don't even know why they there. Just like our people today, we doing this Mother Day custom and stuff like that, and we don't know why we doing it, where it come from. We just think we celebrating our mothers and stuff.
God.
You know what I mean? That's foolishness. And that it said that they was confused.
They just there.
They just there.
For the food.
Just
Oh, it's a parade. It's a parade. I'm gonna be in a parade. That's crazy.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Verse 30. And when Paul would have entered into the people, the disciples, like you, suffer him not. Verse.
Go ahead.
33.
We're 33.
Yeah, you are.
Okay, so like yeah. Verse 33. And they drew Alexander out of the multitude. And the Jews put him forward. And Alexander beckoned with the hand and would have made his defense unto the people. But when they knew that he was a Jew, all with one voice, about the space of 2 hours cried out, Great is Diana of the Ephesians. And when the town clerk had appeased the people, he said, Ye men of Ephesus, what man is there that knoweth not how that the city of the Ephesians is a worshipper of the great goddess Diana, and of the image which fell down from Jupiter?
Slakia. And according to this legend, it goes back, her name is also Venus. They believe that she fell from the sky in the egg, and they rolled her these fish rolled her to the Nile River, and then she hatched up out of the egg, and there she was, Venus. You know what I mean? And Venus also, as you know, is the consort of Baal, which is Baal-zebub, the king of the devil, the lord of the flies. You know what I mean? And that's what they worshiping right there, man. Foolishness. Go ahead.
Verse 36. Seeing then that these things cannot be spoken against, ye ought to be quiet and do nothing rashly.
And they doing the same thing. Man, y'all need to leave that alone, man. It's for our mothers, man. Y'all need to just be quiet, man. Let us do our thing, man. We're going to have this plate. We're going to have our deviled eggs and ham and all that stupidity, whatever. You know what I mean? It's the same thing you bring it up to today. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. For ye have brought hither these men, which are neither robbers of churches, nor yet blasphemers of your goddess. Wherefore, if Demetrius and the craftsmen which were with them have a matter against any man, the law is open, and there are deputies. Let them implead one another. But if ye inquire of anything concerning other matters, it shall be determined in a lawful assembly. For we are in danger to be called in question for this day's uproar, there being no cause whereby we may give account of this concourse. And when he had thus spoken, he dismissed the assembly.
So they was trying to get these men in trouble right there in the assembly for speaking against this ungodly custom, against this idol. You know what I mean? The same foolishness that was going on back then, going on today, man. This is straight stupidity, man. And we're going along with it. And I don't know, man. It's just crazy. Go ahead.
Also, this is also referring. Is this also referring? Would you agree that this is also referring back to the letter that Paul wrote to the Ephesians?
Yeah.
This is some of the issues that he's addressing in his letter to the Ephesians.
Yeah.
What they doing, worshiping at Diana and all that stuff, and the women speaking in the churches and all that stuff. They was, the women had like a uproar.
Yeah, that's why I tell them to learn in silence.
Exactly,
And that's why it's not the
exactly.
author of confusion, because they sitting there confused.
But
Yeah,
I'm saying
absolutely.
the Ephesians, we
Right.
worship Diana.
Yeah.
So when you read Ephesians, this is a reference you can go back to
That's-
to see what Paul is talking about.
Come.
Yeah.
Come.
It's
Excellent.
one of the things he
Yeah.
talked about. He addressed several things. But this
Right.
is one of the problems in Ephesians, the church of the Ephesians.
And
Yeah,
then that gives you more understanding of why he got on the women so hard. It seems in the in the epistles.
Mhm.
Very good point, man. Excellent.
I got a question about Acts. The book of Acts is supposed to have been written by Luke. Where did Luke stop and where Paul started? I would say Luke never stopped.
When did Luke
That was a-
stop and Paul start?
Yeah, in the book of Acts. If Luke wrote the book of Acts,
Yeah.
But him and Luke were companions. Salakia. You know what the companions.
he's giving an account of what happened to Paul
Yeah.
from Paul's words
Yeah,
and
that's
from his
right.
own
Okay,
account.
so he's giving an account.
So this
Right.
is Luke's.
Yes, Luke.
It's
yeah,
still
that's
Luke's
Luke.
writing.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, that's what
But
I was
he-
trying to figure out.
Paul makes mention of Luke very highly too. I gotta find a verse if anybody can find that, but he speaks about Luke.
Okay.
If anybody could, they go to the page. It says Mother's Day is pagan idolatry, and read from the article where it says the adoption by Christianity.
You in the text?
Yeah.
You didn't
Could
send
I-
it to me.
Yeah, you got it too. It's in there. It's in the text, the group text.
Y'all can I bring out someone?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, when you finish.
Nah, well,
okay.
you
Well,
bring it
uh,
up first.
Which one we at? Mother's Day, pagan idolatry,
Yeah.
right here.
The brother Yaquar brought the point about the church of Ephesians. If you go to Revelation, 2nd chapter.
Okay, what was that again? What?
Revelation. second chapter.
Revelation 2nd chapter. And it's really from the first verse to the
Okay, that was
Sixth
verse 7,
well, from the
verse to 7, right?
yeah.
You want to get that, Elder?
Yeah.
Okay. This is the book of. Look, you want to get it?
He on the article.
Okay. Oh, Salakia. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 2, verse 1. Until the angel of the church of Ephesus write these things, saith he that hold the 7 stars in his right hand, who walketh in the midst of the 7 golden candlesticks. I know thy works, and thy labor, and thy patience, and how this canst not bear them which are evil. And thou hast tried them which say they are apostles, and are not, and hast found them liars.
See, there you go, Church of Ephesians, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you still had so-called apostles or disciples teaching doctrine from that same doctrine.
Diana worship.
Right.
Diana worship. So they even this is the Church of Ephesians now, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
So they're still teaching, and it's going to tell you about another doctrine they brought up also. Hey, go ahead, up.
Verse 3.
3.
Verse 3. And hast borne, and hath patience, and for my name's sake hast labored, and hast not fainted.
Right. So now these are the ones of our people that were in the Church of Ephesians. Remember, this is the 7 churches scattered in Asia Minor.
Right.
Today, that's talking about Istanbul, Turkey. That's where these 7 churches were scattered. Okay?
God.
And then you can look up in history, that's where they were scattered at. So Ephesians was one of them. And it says that they had borne, meaning they had tried these so-called disciples out. But now the Spirit of the Most High in Yahushua is showing that these disciples are false. These particular apostles are false because they're teaching doctrine. and one of them was the doctrine of Diana, or let's say today, you can bring up to date, right?
Mother's Day.
The Mother's Day
Come.
doctrine, right? Okay, go ahead, up.
Verse 4. Nevertheless, I am somewhat against thee, because thou hast left thy first love.
Right, so this is Yahushua saying this now. I'm against you, he's saying, because you left me. See, our first love was all Israel, was the Most High, right in Yahushua. And then we left the Most High to worship Diana, to worship Mother's Day, or the Ceramis,
Yep.
the so-called Queen of Heaven, right? We left the Most High. Yahushua said, I'm against you. I'm a little bit against you, right? Just like your sons and your daughters, sometimes you could say, you know, son or daughter, I don't like you for that. You know, I hate what you did. I mean, you still love them, right? But you let them know, I don't like what you did. This is what Yahushua is saying to us. So there's some things Yahushua is saying that we do in the churches today. Say, I hate it.
Yeah, selling plates and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
all that
It's
crap.
the same thing.
Right. So he still loves us as a people, but he's saying, I hate what you're doing now. See? Okay, going up.
Verse 5. Remember therefore from whence thou art fallen, and
You
repent.
see? Well, how did we fall? Idolatry. Mother's Day is idolatry. That's all it is. Huh? And then next is going to be Father's Day. That's idolatry.
Come on.
Maybe they can do the next one when Father's Day comes. They can do a class on that. It's the same difference, right?
Come.
All right.
Come.
You go on and on, right? Going up.
And do the first works.
Yeah. See, the first word is to keep the commandments. See? Going up.
Or else I will come unto thee quickly.
That's what's happening now, right?
Yup.
You see all people dropping dead out there. I will come unto thee quickly. I will destroy you. Going up.
And will remove thy candlestick out of his place,
Right.
except thou repent.
Right. So you're going to remove thy candlestick out of his place. Okay?
Yep.
And we are the candlestick of the Most High. And then Yahushua come.
Con.
Okay, go ahead up.
Verse 6. But this thou hast, that thou hatest the deeds of the Nicolaitans, which I also hate.
So who says that Yahushua don't hate?
Mm-hmm.
Yahushua don't love everything we do. He hates. So the deeds of Nicolaitans, this was an individual. His name was Nicholas. And he brought up a doctrine. And this is not in the church of Ephesians, right?
Right.
Right, it's like you got brothers today come up in any one of these camps and these Israelite schools bring up a doctrine, right? Next thing you know, the whole camp and the Israelite school is following it. Well, this doctrine here was the doctrine of Nicholas, the Nicolaitans, meaning those who follow the Nicholas doctrine. And his doctrine was you can bring in paganism. In other words, you can follow idolatry along with following the commandments of the Most High. You can bring it together.
Come.
That was his doctrine. You look up the doctrine of Nicholas. His doctrine was you can bring in paganism and bring in, of course, the commandments of the Most High, what the Most High saying we should do, and you can worship them together. And Yahushua said, no, I hate that thing.
Come.
You can only, remember, you can't serve two masters.
Right.
Right.
This is what Yahushua said. So that was the doctrine Yahushua said. I hate that thing.
Yeah. That's basic Christianity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
Same
Yep.
thing.
Bringing
They
in
say
all the
we can
holidays.
still worship the God of the Bible. We still can also do Christmas.
Right.
Easter,
Exactly.
which is pagan
Mother's
stuff.
Day. Women's
It's all-
Day.
Yeah, it's all pagan
Yeah,
stuff.
all of that.
Yeah, and that's what the Nicolaitans was about. They basically was not about keeping the commandments the
No.
way the Bible.
Right.
Right. It's basically Christianity.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Bring it
Pretty
today.
much, yeah.
It's Christianity.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
That's all.
Yeah,
I
that's
think that
all
was
shit.
it, Doc, if you want to. But I think that was it.
Go ahead, Gamoria. Bring out
the adoption by
the adoption,
Christianity.
and then after that, bring out why we are encouraged to celebrate. After that, right after that.
All right. The adoption by Christianity. During the 1600s, Christian groups in England adopted the tradition but called it Mothering Sunday as a way to honor the mothers of England, because many of England's poor lived and worked as servants for the wealthy, far away from their homes and families. They were given Mothering Sunday off and were allowed to return home and spend the day with their mothers. A special cake called the mothering cake.
Now, slack it. They make mothering cake, as you see in Jeremiah, they was making cakes to the Queen of Heaven. You know what I mean? They just trick you into doing the worship again.
Yep.
They just bring it up to the date and they trick you into doing the same worship. Go ahead.
Was often baked to add to the festivities, and many attended a special service at the mother church.
The what church?
Yeah, mother.
The mother
Right,
church.
make a point. Why do they use food? Because what does food do?
It's enticing.
Yeah.
It's a dainty meat.
You understand? So if you bring in food or let's say baked cake or any kind of food with that particular idol,
Sacrifice.
yeah, I understand what I'm saying. Then you're able to, like you said, entice the people to really worship that philosophy or whatever more so because you're feeding them, you're offering them something.
Right.
Salaki, that's why they
offering.
Salaki, that's why they bought them hot cross buns. You know what I mean? That belongs to the mother of heaven. To Mars, yeah.
Yeah.
It's also a similitude of the Last Supper.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
But on the left hand side,
On the
yeah.
left-hand side.
Go ahead.
The mother church, the main church in the vicinity of their home. Over time, the Mothering Sunday tradition shifted into a more secular holiday, and it became traditional for children to present their mothers with flowers and other tokens of appreciation. This custom eventually faded in popularity before merging with the American Mother's Day in the 1930s and 1940s. Before I read, that was the end of that. Before I go down to why are we encouraged to celebrate a holiday that originated with the worship of pagan gods, I got a precept real quick I want to bring out, and it's Christ talking to the Pharisees about their views on honoring thy mother and thy father. I think it fits perfectly with this holiday, and also the point just brought out, they would present their mothers with gifts. So I believe it's Matthew chapter 15. Let's start at verse 4. In fact, I'm going to start at 3. That's a good start. Let me know when I can start.
I'm there. I mean, I don't know if everybody else is.
Okay, Matthew chapter 15, verse 3. But Yahushua answered the Pharisees and said unto them, why do ye also transgress the commandment of God by your tradition? For Yahweh commanded, saying, honor thy father and mother, and he that curseth father or mother, let him die to death. But ye say, whosoever shall say to his father or his mother, it is a gift, by whatsoever thou mightest be profited by me, and honoreth, at that point though, a gift. I profit you by, any way I profit you, I say it's a gift. Me giving honor, anything I do for my father and mother, it's a gift. A gift to them. It is a gift. Verse 6. And honor not his father or his mother, he shall be free. Thus have you made the commandment of Yahweh of none effect by your tradition, ye hypocrites. And that is what it is. It's promoting that mind state, because aside from the fact that the Most High didn't ordain it as a holiday, it's a holiday and you bring gifts. But it's not promoted that continue this gift giving, this honoring of your mother throughout the year. It's this one and done. The day's come,
one and
you've
done day.
accomplished
Yep,
your
absolutely.
duty as a son
Absolutely.
or daughter. I kept Mother's Day. And I went out and I bought the best flowers I could find. I got the best car I could find. We did that cooking and the festivities and all that. And, I can safely say that I love my mom.
Because you did that one day.
Yeah, I count
Yep.
that in. So now it's made, it's a norm to count your service and honor to your mother and father.
It actually go right into that article because it's a Lammy back off of that.
Could I make this point also?
Go ahead.
He's right. Because it's
That
the
was
same thing with birthdays. See, when you look at birthdays, it's only one day. And you don't read in the scripture where the Most High said, honor the individual on the day that he was born. You never read that. Well, that's a Roman philosophy, Roman doctrine to celebrate birthdays. But the thing is, with the Most High said, honor your mother and father. He didn't say worship them, and once a year bring gifts and so forth and worship them. So there's a difference. And the churches will try to bring that, like he said, read that scripture, they'll try to bring that, which the Most High said, bring gifts and honor your mother and father. Well, that's what we're doing. But no, what you're doing is now it's idolatry.
Come.
Understand? And so that's why the Most High said, he that seeketh his mother or worship his mother before me
It's not worthy of me.
is not worthy of me.
That's what it says.
So that's what it'll ultimately lead to when you start doing it like that. So again, that's not a commandment, right? So that's why we got to get away from that. But again, it's leading towards, of course, the Babylonian holiday, worshiping Nimrod,
Semiramis,
and
Tammuz,
Tammuz.
yeah.
And that's Satan. That's all it is, Satan.
Basically, you're
Yeah.
worshiping Satan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I when you said something about the birthday, right?
Yeah.
Now, when I read about some of the prophets in there,
Yeah.
they always curse the day they was born.
Yeah, how about that? Yeah, you're right. Job did that.
Yeah, Job did.
Jeremiah did it.
Jeremiah,
You
yeah.
know? They always curse the day they was born.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
don't,
Jonah-
shows right
Jonah
there
did
they
too.
don't celebrate the birthday.
Even Yahweh Shai, like it was like bless the paps that you sucked from, you know what I mean? And he was like, nah.
No. They said your mother's here. She wants you. He said, who?
Who is my mother?
Yeah, get out of here.
It's my father.
Yeah, the ones who do the will of my father. That's my brother.
mother,
Yeah,
my brother, my
yeah.
father's, and you know.
And even David said that when he was born and his mother, he was born into sin. He was born, coming out of his mother's womb, he was born to sin. So, so we're supposed to honor the Most High, but you're supposed to honor your mother and father
daily.
but not daily, but
Right.
not of course an idol worship.
Not an idol worship.
Yeah.
And,
Go ahead.
and the woman was in the transgression.
Yeah.
As well.
I think he had his hand up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Salakia.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the scripture tells us to raise your child up in the way that he should go.
Yeah,
so
Proverbs
that he
22 and
knows that he
6.
should not depart.
Yeah.
So honoring your mother and father is honoring the things that they raised you up in
Yeah,
every
yeah.
day. That's a daily walk.
God.
Yeah, you want.
Absolutely.
That's true. Definitely. Definitely. Good point,
You got that article?
Yeah, I'm ready. When
Yeah, go ahead, bring it up.
So now the same article, whatever, but down a little bit lower. It's why are we encouraged to celebrate a holiday that originated with the worship of pagan gods? The reason: flower shops, gift shops, and other retailers generate billions and billions of dollars every year from the people who buy gifts for their mothers on Mother's Day. According to the National Retail Federation, the average person will spend about $140 for Mother's Day, meaning the total spending will reach about $16 billion.
Sheesh. So you spend that's like almost more than Halloween.
Right.
16 billion on Mother's Day. You spending more on Mother's Day than you spending on candy for doing that witchcraft, and it's still witchcraft.
Still witchcraft. Yep.
I want to bring out the book of 2 Peter chapter 2 verse 3.
And while we get that, the elder made a strong point, transferring from Mother's Day to birthdays, in that it's one day that now you acknowledge your friends or your brothers. But didn't Christ, he commanded us, and the Most High commanded us that we're supposed to do service to our brothers on a daily. He that is
Right.
great among you shall be servant to the lesser.
That's right.
See, we'll remember our friends on that day, and we'll buy them drinks. We'll go out with them. We'll spend time with them. We'll acknowledge they exist for that one day, or now it's week. But we'll forget the rest of the year.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The rest of the year is all about self.
You know, we're
And,
supposed
you
to
know,
show continual brotherhood. You know what I
Right.
mean? We're supposed to continually sharpen the iron. We're supposed to continually uplift and exhort each other. You know what I mean? Even your mother, you're supposed to do that on a daily. You know what I mean? Your father, you're supposed to do that on a daily. You know what I mean? And just to let me back off what he said, you honor them by doing what they said to do in your walk in life. So that's everyday honor of your mother and your father. This is 2 Peter, Salakia, just to land off the spinning article that he just brought out. 2 Peter chapter 2 verse 3, and it reads, and through covetousness shall they with feigned words make merchandise of you, whose judgment now of a long time lingereth not, and their damnation slumbereth not. So like they making merchandise out of you spending on that one day, and dishonor don't even linger for a long time. Just linger for that one day. You just went out and spent on some flowers that's pretty much gonna go in the trash. You know what I mean? In like a week. And there ain't no honor in that. Your mother's the flower of your life. You know what I mean? You show that honor all of your life. You know what I mean? And that's pretty pretty much what I wanted to bring out today. You know what I mean? Unless anybody else got any precepts they want to
Before
bring.
you end it, I got a nice little section on that detailed honoring your father and mother.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
Where we at?
we're gonna go to Sirach. So this is a detailed, instructions on that commandment, honor our father and our mother.
Come.
Sirach chapter 3, verse 1 to 16. It starts out, hear me, your father, O children, and do thereafter, that ye may be safe. For the Most High hath given the father honor over the children, and hath confirmed the authority of the mother over the sons. Whoso honoreth his father maketh an atonement for his sins. So even with that, we sin all the time. So we want to, if it makes an atonement for sins to honor your father, you want to do it more than just one day a year.
Absolutely.
Hey, listen, this makes an atonement. Shoot,
Yeah, I'm gonna do it as much as I
I got
can.
a lot of sins to atone for.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Right?
Yep.
And he that honoreth his mother, because tomorrow is Mother's Day, is as one that layeth up treasure. Don't we all want to lay up treasures with the Most High?
Come.
Right.
So
Exactly.
what are we going to wait for one day of the year to do it for? When we got all the days of the year that the Most High expects it. And it lays up a treasure when we do so. Verse 5. Whoso honoreth his father shall have joy of his own children. And when he maketh his prayer, he shall be heard. He that honoreth his father shall have a long life. And he that is obedient unto the Lord shall be a comfort to his mother. So that's another thing. That's another way right there. That's an important point. One way that we honor our mothers and fathers, because we can't even see them every day. When you become grown, you don't get to see your parents that much.
Right.
But one way you honor your father and mother is by honoring the Most High. By following his ways. That's
Right.
a glory to your parents.
Exactly.
They might not even, like most of our parents, don't even believe in what we're doing
Right.
by following the Bible. But the Most High says that, you know what, regardless if they acknowledge it, you're honoring your parents by doing my ways.
By you
By
good words.
following what I commanded you, instructed you.
Exactly.
So we honor, but if we continue in this, in the walking in truth, sincerity and truth with the Most High, where every day we're honoring our parents. We don't got to go give them flowers and gifts.
Come.
And could I make a point? Because what he was saying, you honor them, even though they're not in the truth. You still honor them. You still respect them.
Come.
Because by that, in the end, more likely they'll be sanctified in you, just like your wife, if she's not in the truth,
It's sanctified by the
is
husband.
sanctified by the husband.
Yep.
So you still honor them. Because, you hate like hell when you teach them the truth and they reject it and they go back to their church. Yeah, we all hate that. They go eat their pork or whatever they're doing. Yeah, you hate that thing. But you still respect them because the Most High is asking us, like he's reading, to honor them.
Come.
See, we're still supposed to follow what the commandment says. Even though they're not, right? And they don't see it yet or understand yet. But we're still supposed to do what the Most High is asking us to do.
Come.
And then later on, they will wake up. Okay, wake up to the truth, and then they'll see it. Yeah.
So even honestly, if you giving them rebuke, you showing them that love and honor too, as well, because you showing them the path, and you like showing it forth to them as well too. So you honor them through that too as well.
Yep. And honor them in your good works, because when you do well, then that's a reflection on them. And the Most High, He sees that.
Christ said it best when he says, when you see me, you see the Father.
You see the Father.
The very thing, the very nature and the behavior of the Father.
Exactly.
Right here as an example.
Come.
Right. We don't have to see the Most High. Right. You see Yahweh Shai, that's it. And we've all seen Yahweh Shai. It's in our spirit. Right? Even though the Bible gives us a description, but still, we've seen Yahweh Shai.
Come.
Verse 7. He that feareth the Most High will honor his father, and will do service unto his parents as to his masters. And that's the way, like, that Mother's Day doesn't promote that. Like, Mother's Day don't say that come over and, help your parents with some things they might not be able to.
No.
Like, maybe if they can't, they got maybe they can't cut their lawn no more on their own. You should go over there then at that point, they at that age, and when you can, you should handle that for them. Mother's Day don't promote that. Mother's Day is about that vain tradition that we read about in Matthew. But the Most High said that we are to do service unto our parents as to our masters. Verse 8. Honor thy father and mother both in word and deed, that a blessing may come upon thee from them. For the blessing of the father establisheth the houses of children, but the curse of the mother rooteth out foundations. Glory not in the dishonor of thy father, for thy father's dishonor is no glory unto thee. So another thing, like what we shouldn't like when our parents don't get it and don't want to walk this walk, we can't look at it like we can't glory in that their dishonor, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? We still got to honor them, you know, and show them that proper honor as children.
Come.
Verse 11. For the glory of a man is from the honor of his father, and a mother in dishonor is a reproach to the children. My son, help thy father in his age, and grieve him not as long as he liveth. And if his understanding fail, have patience with him, and despise him not when thou art in thy full strength. For the relieving of thy father shall not be forgotten, and instead of sins it shall be added to build thee up. In the day of thine afflict, another thing, so that's showing that, you know, if you have the ability, don't just send your parents off to the old folk home. And then pop up on these holidays.
Absolutely.
You pop up on these holidays, but through the year, you like, you know, you can't do nothing for yourself. I can't deal with you. These people will, but I come on these holidays. That's what the Most High expects.
Exactly.
In verse 15, in the day of thine affliction, it shall be remembered. Thy sins also shall melt away as the ice in the fair warm weather. He that forsaketh his father is as a blasphemer, and he that angereth his mother is cursed of Yahweh.
Right, see how many sins are forgiven when you just honor your father and mother? The whole multitude of sins. But of course, in this society, they teach our people to, like we said, put them away. They get a certain age, and they're weak, and they can't do nothing, so put them away and only visit them once a year. That's a whole dishonorable thing. And when a young man in his full strength, and then look at the age of his father and mother, and then want to put them away, eventually, what's the Most High going to do? When they get to that age, what's going to happen to them? It's going to be a recompense upon them what they get to. It always comes back. Yeah, it always comes back. Go ahead. Yeah.
I got a precept to land me back off of what he just read, and also what Brother Carl said on how we honor our parents. It's in Sirach 16, verse 1 down to 3. Sirach 16, verse 1 down to 3. And it reads, desire not a multitude of unprofitable children, neither delight in ungodly sons or daughters. Right?
Right.
Though they multiply, rejoice not in them, except the fear of the Lord be with them, keeping of the commandments. Right?
Yep.
Trust not thou in their life, neither respect their multitude. For one that is just is better than 1,000. And better it is to die without children than to have them that are ungodly.
Right.
That's deep.
Right.
So in other words, we supposed to, the kids are supposed to honor their mother and father by keeping these commandments of the Most High. Doing the will of the Most High.
Right. It's a dishonorable thing for a man to have many children, but none of them are righteous.
Respectful.
Right. Yeah. None of them are righteous. That's a dishonorable. What you have them for?
Exactly.
Most I say, you may as well just take your son in the middle of the city and cast stones on him, destroy him. But if you got one out of that bunch that's going to do the upright thing, the righteous thing, then most of that's the honorable thing. So yeah, don't delight in having Nick Cannon. He's all got children all over the place, right? So it doesn't look good. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're not teaching them righteous values of the Most High. That's why the Most High killed Job's children. Job was highly respected and righteous, but his children were evil, man. Most High took them out in one day.
They want to celebrate birthdays and stuff, reveling.
They were probably celebrating Queen of Heaven and everything. They were wicked. Most High took them out. They were worthless. Right. Yeah, go ahead,
Worthless multitude.
Yeah.
It also shows how merciful the Most High is.
Yeah.
Because he could take a single man in one lifetime and extend the days of him by using his son
Using
for
his son,
salvation
that's right.
back to him.
Yeah, because they say that he that teacheth his sons, they greet the enemy, you know what I mean? And where's that? It's,
Because that's your seed. You're going to bring yourself back. Right.
So in other words, it shows the importance of having righteous children.
Yeah.
Con, absolutely.
Children that follow your ways, which should be the Most High's ways.
Most sideways.
Con.
So
Exactly.
you step off.
What happens to
You
most
got a
children?
raft out
Yeah.
there somewhere.
Yeah.
What happens to most children? They start being taught by their mother.
Yeah, we brought that out. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? As for people, children are oppressed and women rule over them. And you know what I mean?
But the man sits there and does nothing.
Yeah, but it's honor of the woman again. That goes back to the Diana worship too, because they taking the man out of the house and then the woman's the head of household. That's making the children bow down to the woman. It also go back to the Willie Lynch letter. You know what I mean? They took that and they reversed the roles. You know what I mean? They took the strongest black man, they whooped him up in front of the women and made the women teach the children to be submissive to master. You know what I mean? And in turn, she's submissive to master. You know what I mean? You see it in the work world too. Like our women, they rule with Esau. You know what I mean? If they don't have their head on right. You know what I mean? They not submissive. You can't. And I work with some E's. You can't tell them nothing, man. I might be telling them the best way to do something, man. And just because I'm younger than them and I'm the same color as them, they ain't gonna listen to me. They ain't gonna listen to me. And then I watch.
Give you a hard time.
Like for example, I just went through this at work. It's this lady. She don't like that I smile and stuff. She don't like that I'm nice to people. She don't like that for some reason. You know what I mean?
You don't like happy black men.
Yeah, she don't like that.
Yeah.
So I think my shit don't stink because I'm nice to people. You know what I mean? So you want to be mean. I'm trying to take the trash out and stuff like that for you. Trying to make sure that you don't have to hurt your back. And you push the stuff around on cartwheels that I carry stuff around. But you don't want me to take your trash out. But every time I go outside, you trash on the ground. And I got to pick it up any damn way. That's foolishness, man.
Yeah.
And we taught that. Yeah, I mean, we taught put our women above us.
That's
And
the,
then they got it in their mind that they're above us too.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't teach them that. The world taught them that.
Yeah.
Babylon taught them that. You know, following their traditions,
But that's
uplifted the black woman. You know, and put her above the man. Got rid of the man out of the house and Section 8, and you know, they ran with it. Feminism, women's movement. And this, here we got it today. You know,
Well, that's why
I don't
they
need a
know.
man. Now they don't have a man. A lot of them were, you know,
Well,
turning.
because they play that role as the second lieutenant to their slave master.
That's right, exactly. But just like they've been taught.
Yeah.
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 But that's the reason that we have to respect and have long patience with Jake, our women, solely because Esau
Absolutely.
put her on the front line. And in the
He
madness of her
destroyed himself.
confusion and being out of order, which was set in
Yeah.
place by Esau, that even in her madness, she does a better job struggling for her children than any other nation on the earth.
Come.
Right.
And that is the reason why we have to respect them.
Absolutely.
deal
And there are
with-
some
and deal
devout
with that
women
madness.
in Israel today that we have that are back on the earth, and some of the women are more likely sitting in here today. That
Come.
love
All
the
praises.
Lord.
All praises.
That want to serve God. That want to serve God on the other side. That want to keep the commandments. And we have some women here that's about that life. You know,
Come.
it takes time, but you know,
Yeah.
it's not all doom and gloom because y'all here today because the Spirit leading y'all in the right direction. Because all of us came out of that madness.
Right. I just want to bring out one more thing when you finish.
Go ahead. No,
I got a
that's it.
question real quick on the statement. So do women not teach the children?
Oh, they are.
Oh
the
yeah, they're
teachers.
the first teacher
I
ever.
just wanted to make sure we clear that up.
Yeah.
Because it was said that the women teach their children, but the women are supposed to teach the children.
Hey,
Yeah,
they
the
are
women's
the
supposed to
teachers'
teach children.
And each
But
other.
according to the man's order.
Yeah,
Right.
of course. That's the order. Is Yahweh Shah, the men, our women, our children, and then the heathen.
And then
That's the order.
But see, and you're blessed in that order. When you come out of that order is when things go awry. Stay in your order, and then you'll be blessed in it. And being devout, being honorable to your husband, listening, following the rules. The Most High's word is not going to return vain unto you.
Because our woman is taught to be the strong black woman when her strength is in her submission to us.
That's her
Even if
strength.
she's not married to us, it doesn't say that you shouldn't listen to a man that's not your husband because he might be teaching you right too. And a lot of our women not married. You know what I mean? So we might be teaching you right just being a brother. You know what I mean? You might have to go out there and you tell one of these little young girls, yo, I know your father ain't know you got them little shirts on. Yo, and you tell them like the best thing, the best gifts come covered up. You know what I mean? When you unwrap the gift, you know what I mean? You're the greatest gift that you could give to a so-called black Hispanic man. I had to do that yesterday. You know what I mean? And you out there, you giving them brotherhood as a grown man, looking back down on your sisters. You know what I mean? So it's still an order there. You know what I mean? And the little girl respected that when I told her that. And she pulled her sweatshirt down and she covered her once.
But you're right, because the woman's first understanding and wisdom comes from her husband, or comes from the man of the priest. Or let's say she's single. She still got to go to the priest to get knowledge, wisdom, understanding. Still a man, right? That's why the scripture says marriage is honorable and all, because her first wisdom and understanding is going to come from her husband. And like Yaakov was teaching and brought out, it's the man, the woman, the children, the order. In all actuality, it's Yahushua, the man, or the husband, the woman, and then the children. Mm-hmm. So she gets it from her husband, and then she goes on when they have children. The children first learn the understanding of the truth or the commandment from her mother, from their mother. All right, and that's where they get it from. So it's supposed to go in that order. But now, today, the type of spirit that you have in this black woman is Revelation 2:19. Well, you can start from 20 if you want to cut it short, but Revelation 2:20. This is the spirit that's out there now, and this goes along with the Mother's Day, you know what I'm saying, Valentine's Day, birthdays, all this, and of course inside the churches, which you have now, as the brother brought out, what they do in the churches. The churches is all feminized now. It all has the spirit of witchcraft, okay, and Satanism in there now.
Right.
And Satan has it where he raises the woman up in these churches. You know, T.D. Jakes gave his church over to his daughter. He got, 5,000 congregation, gave it all to his daughter. All right? And he was teaching things concerning homosexuality, and it's, all right. So it's all feminized now, right? So Revelation 2:20.
Book of Revelation chapter 2 verse 20. Notwithstanding, I have a few things against thee, because thou sufferest that woman Jezebel, which calleth herself a prophetess, to teach and to seduce my servants to commit fornication and to eat things sacrificed unto idols.
Well, then, there you go, Mother's Day. Again, right? Yep. That's that Jezebel spirit. So it's not. So the Jezebel spirit is really now outside of the churches now. It's in the church, starting in the churches, but now it's all over the place, right? It's the same Jezebel spirit all over the place, right? And so they seduce. That spirit seduces the man. And then, like you said, like Yaakov said, the man bows down and wants to marry the woman. He bows down before her and everything. That's a Jezebel spirit too.
Come on.
Yeah. All that is part of that.
Because our women are taught to want those things, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And it's not her fault. We got some work to do, people.
Yeah.
We got work to do.
The Valentine's Day spirit.
Yep.
That's coming from
Tammuz
Jezebel.
and Semiramis too.
All that's the same thing. That's what's out here now.
Yeah, but it goes back to Tammuz too.
It does.
Tammuz is Cupid.
Yeah. Goes back to all that out. Okay, so eat things sacrificed to idols, and now they associate it like Gamari brought out. They associate it with food, right? So you eating things sacrificed to the devil.
Valentine's
Day
chocolates.
1 Corinthians 10:20. You eat things sacrificed, and we don't eat things sacrificed to devils, right? So we're not supposed to. Go read 21.
Verse 21. And I gave her space to repent of her fornication, and she repented not.
No, she repented not. Okay? It goes all the way back. Even when Eve slept with the serpent, goes all the way back to that. All right? Sold out.
And it's just like it. And Mother's Day, they dress up real nice and everything. They seduce the servants to commit fornication.
Right.
Because, the bars are packed on Mother's Day. And the club is packed on. And the Mason Halls is packed on Mother's Day. Back then, she dressed up fine on Mother's Day. And you know what that's about.
Right.
At the end of that night, what I mean? It's going to be some action happening.
Because that's the Jezebel spirit.
That's the Jezebel spirit that's going to be put out
right
there on Mother's Day. Yeah, so, man.
Hey, go ahead,
we're living through that.
Verse 22. Behold, I will cast her into a bed, and them that commit adultery with her into great tribulation, except they repent of their deeds.
Wow. And that's child support. Great tribulation.
And I will kill her children.
You would do what?
And I will kill her children.
Now you see why most times killing these children out here. They dying younger and younger, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of them are having heart attacks and everything.
Or they're shooting each other.
Athletes. Yeah.
Or they killing each other.
Yeah. I will kill her children. Go ahead, up.
and I will kill her children with death, and all the churches shall know that I am he which searcheth the reins and hearts, and I will give unto her every one of you according to your works.
And that's what's happening out here.
That's what's happening.
That's what's happening.
Yep.
Look at it out there. That's what's happening out here. Most High's giving them what they deserve.
Come on.
So if you see, you go on TikTok and a woman, I got cancer. I'm in my last stage. Why? Why, Most High? Because you wicked as hell. See? You got that Jezebel spirit. I seen one brother on TikTok, and he was a brother, young brother, crying. I can cry in tears because he has cancer, stage 4 or something. Crying. Why? Because you wicked as hell. Understand? And they don't associate it with that, with what they did in their life. Understand? And the Most High, he's getting them now. And it's going to increase. Most High is going to multiply. Because you got to realize the Most High, Yahushua said, I'm coming, I will bring death. And the slain of the Most High, the slain of the Lord shall be
many.
Many. See? He said, think not that I'm come to bring peace. He said, I'm come to bring a sword. I mean, he's coming to kill people. And that's what's happening here. Okay? Go ahead, up.
So you want to go to
But that's
that was it. Yeah, I think
pretty much
Amari
it.
had something. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, I had 3 with regards to the teaching, women teaching question. I got 3 that I want to go to in a order or whatever. The first scripture I'll go to is 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 34 and 35.
14,
1 Corinthians 14, verse 34 and 35. Yakinan already brought out the order, the Most High, Christ, the man, woman, the children.
Yep.
This is going to give a little detail into how that whole thing works, with what the women's teaching, where they learn from, and all those things. And it reads, let your women keep silence in the churches, for it is not permitted unto them to speak, but they are commanded to be under obedience, as also saith the law. And if they will learn anything, let them ask their husbands at home, for it is a shame for women to speak in the church. So the first thing is, they are supposed to learn from the men in the home.
Right.
And then
it's a shame for them. Right.
Yeah, and that should be going down, then that's going to go down to the children. But the first thing is being humble and in subjection and obedience, and silent in the churches and learning from the husbands at home.
Good.
Then from there, I want to go to Titus chapter 2, verse 1 down. And it reads, but speak thou the things which become sound doctrine, that the aged men be sober, grave, temperate, sound in faith, in charity, in patience. So there's basically the standard. There's the standard that a man in the house is supposed to keep, following Christ. Verse 3, the aged women likewise, that they be in behavior as becometh holiness, not false accusers, not given to much wine.
Is it what woman? The age?
The aged woman.
Yeah.
Not given to much wine. Teachers of good things, that they may teach the young women to be sober. And teach the young women, but at a certain point, the young men, they have to learn from their father. But before that, they're teaching the women, the girls, and boys. But what are they teaching? They're teaching what they learned from who? Their husband, the father.
That's what they teach.
It's the trickle-down effect.
Right.
So that they may teach the young women to be sober, to love their husbands, to love their children. So these things, that is then going to go on to the next generation. That keeping that order is going to create a well-running machine. Following the order, the Most High, Christ. Following what Christ teaches. The woman following what the man teaches. Teaching to the children, and then the children grow up to know how to treat their husbands, the young women. The men grow up to know how to treat their women and the children. It's a trickle-down effect. Then the last one I want to go to real quick is Sirach 25:1. And it reads, in 3 things I was beautified, and stood up beautiful both before Yahweh and men, the unity of brethren, the love of neighbors, a man and a wife that agree together. So if you have those things and you have that order, it's just gonna move smoothly. It's gonna carry on through generation, and it's gonna be blessed because the Most High finds that beautiful when you have the man and woman that agree together.
Right.
So it's
because the Most High associated with him being married to Israel.
right.
And the fact that we broke the covenant, now there's of course a divorce thing going on, conflict. So the same thing, a man and a woman, when they're not in order, doing what the Most High would do in their marriage, there's going to be conflict. And let's say now you got a woman that has that Jezebel spirit, and she's going to try to overthrow you, override you, or what you say. There's conflict. Understand? There's going to be conflict. Then things are not going to be blessed. Understand? You're going to have turmoil in your household. So same thing with the Most High. When we broke the commandments, and the Most High is our husband, our Holy Father, right? And we trying to override him or try to do something else other than worship the Most High and honor him, then there's conflict. There's turmoil. You can't expect the Most High to keep everything the same. All right? So the same thing with a woman. If she commits fornication, like I said, Jezebel, that Jezebel spirit, she commits fornication, whatever, everything's not going to be the same.
No.
It's not going to be the same. There's going to be turmoil. Eventually, there might be a divorce, whatever. Get out of my house. I don't want you around me. I'm taking the children, or you take the children, whatever. It's going to be a split, right? So the same thing here. So how do we get back in order with the Most High? So it can be that harmonious, right, marriage, right, with the Most High. Well, we got to follow the commandments, right? Yeah. We got to follow the covenant. That's why a man and a woman takes on a marriage vows. Well, we did that with the Most High, right? There was a vow. The Most High said, "Okay, this is what I want you to do, Israel." There's a vow here. Yeah, right. Mount Sinai. There was a vow here, and we broke it. And we did agree to the covenant, but we broke it. So everything can't stay the same. So the Most High said, "Well, since you broke it, you get out of my house.
The consequences.
Get out."
There's consequences that come with breaking of God's laws. But there's rewards that come with it too. So we exercise ourselves in doing the rewarding part, then maybe we'll see things change.
We'll see things change
in our lives. Because we suffer because of what? Our sins. You know? So we change our outlook and change how we handle our children, and our children might want to make adjustments. Or maybe everybody got it perfect, but I don't think everybody got it perfect. But if we just do better, then maybe things will change, and we can challenge God on that. And I mean challenge in a fearful way, that you will honor Him and do what's right, because I want to see the Most High work in my life by being obedient. I'm not gonna yell at my husband or my children on this one or whatever. I'm gonna work it out differently. To see the Most High work in your life.
Right. So you see, don't make the mistake, because you may see marriages out there in the world and everything, but see, you got to remember the vibration in this world. If you follow the vibration in this world, then you'll get blessed by Satan.
Right.
You'll have a nice marriage. You'll have money, whatever, because you're following the ways of what Satan wants you to do. Understand? But now a lot of people make a mistake. Well, that's what the Most High blessed them. No, the Most High didn't bless them. Satan blessed them because they're following the ways of this world. They're following the rules of this society, this world. Right. Understand? But this is not the Most High. See, Satan can bless too. You gotta remember that.
Yeah. He took Yahushua up on the mountain. He showed him how to give all the kingdoms of the world.
Exactly.
And Yahushua said, "No, okay, I follow the Most High. You should not tempt the Lord thy power. I follow the Most High only." So now that we woke up and we understand that we're Israelites, that's what we got to do, all right? Good. And then Yahushua, because Yahushua already made the reconciliation. He already reconciled us back to the Most High. Understand? So when we pray, the Most High will hear our prayer. When we pray, the Most High will hear our prayer. Even we're in the depths of hell in Esau's world, nailed under Satan. We're in the depths of hell. But when we pray, because of what Yahushua did, He will hear our prayer. Then in your household, if you pray righteously, and just say your household is a little chaotic and turmoil, the Most High will turn it around for you. But you got to remember, you got to stay diligent in this. You got to stay diligent.
Well, that's a prenuptial agreement.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
got married, that's a prenup. You may ignore it.
Yeah, prenup, right.
Uh-huh.
There's nothing wrong with a prenup sometimes,
You
huh?
know it ain't.
Nothing wrong with a prenup. Right. And the Most High did that before he gave us the prenup, and we had to agree to it.
Good.
And when we did agree to it, we broke it.
He's put in the kingdom, the glory,
Exactly.
the testaments, the offices of high priest. That's what he's bringing to the
That's
table.
what he's
we
bringing.
bringing our filthy selves.
Yeah.
Right?
He bringing all the
Yes.
promises and
So
everything
he has
to
to
it.
win.
Yeah.
That's it, man. You're right.
It's funny because what we're talking about is at the Mother's Day, and I was talking about basically the disorder of marriages. And I was looking at, you had brought out Wisdom of Solomon 14 earlier. I was just looking at it. And
Let him go. You go next.
It,
Go ahead.
it kind of goes into that. It's funny because this worshiping of Mother's Day, that being, it's a idolatry. It's a form of idolatry, and that being is actually one of the reasons that you might need a prenup nowadays, because of the disorder of marriages is due to following these following these customs is one of the reasons these problems exist, and it's written here in Wisdom of Solomon. I ain't gonna read it all, but a couple of parts. In Wisdom of Solomon 14 verse 12, to get the point, it says, "For the devising of idols was the beginning of spiritual fornication, and the invention of them the corruption of life." So Mother's Day, that falls back on the Queen of Heaven, quote unquote, whatever. Idolizing your mother, your own mother, all those things. Drop down to verse 24, and it goes through some effects of what this custom started. And it says, "They kept neither lives nor marriages any longer undefiled, but either one slew another traitorously or grieved them by adultery, so that there reigned in all men without exception blood, manslaughter, theft, and dissimulation, corruption, unfaithfulness, tumults, perjury, disquieting of good men, forgetfulness of good terms, defiling of souls, changing of kind, disorder in marriages, adultery, and shameless uncleanness. For the worshiping of idols not to be named is the beginning, the cause, and the end of all
So it
evil."
brings all that. That's a good one, right?
And then also, even with what you said about that you can see people in the world with that Satan will bless them, right? But you also notice though that they can have everything in the world, but then it always ends up not being enough, and eventually their marriage becomes disorder. So, but we only see the good times, and we see that that's attainable. We don't realize there's Satan blessing them. But then it'd be like 20 years, however long down the line. Like you look at celebrities, now they had it good. They had it good. Best wife, the life is good. Then it falls apart.
The blessing run
now
out.
the woman, even though she's
Blessing
rich
run
too,
out, yeah.
she's taking his riches.
Because it's temporal. The worst thing in this world is temporal.
Exactly.
And just to
The
land
Most High ain't
back,
gonna allow it to last.
Slocky, just to land back up, you said like they'll make a deal and they'll give the stuff to our women so that they'll get out and get the best educations and stuff, and they'll be looking successful and all that stuff. But then later on down the line, they'll be in their 40s and then you can't get a husband and want to have children, and you didn't want to do it when you had the opportunity and was fertile because you put your success above being with a man and being a good wife. That's idol worship. Yeah.
That's all it is. It all ends up being idol worship. Everything, man. Everything. And a lot of times, the scripture tells you about the characteristic of some of these women in Isaiah, 3rd chapter? She got wanton eyes.
That's
idol worship. Always, you know what I'm saying, looking at something. So eventually, what's that going to do in the household? It's going to bring sin, disorder.
It's like
conflict,
it's like a mustard seed.
turmoil. Yeah.
Instead of a mustard seed of faith, it's a mustard seed of wickedness. That spirit is growing and growing. Eventually, it's going to outgrow the relationship of the house. It's going to fall eventually.
Yeah. A little leaven the whole lump.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, my man back here.
We'll go back to what you were saying about praying.
Yes.
1 John 3 and so that 21. And that's going to be a precept to Proverbs 28, 9 and 10.
Okay. You want to read it?
You got it?
That's you to read it.
1 John chapter 3, verse 21. Beloved, if our heart condemn us not, then we have confidence towards God. Is that it?
22.
And whatsoever we ask,
Whatsoever we pray.
we receive of him, because we keep his commandments and do those things that are pleasing in his sight.
So what's the condition? You got to keep the commandments.
Right.
Then those prayers will be answered. See, that's always the condition. Understand? So just like you said, a prenup, you know, what's the condition? See? Because the condition is we got to honor the Most High, keep his righteous laws, statutes, commandments, then those blessings that come upon you. Because the Most High, why would the Most High give you all that and then, you know, then there's idol worship, then you're going to break his commandments. So it doesn't work. So prayer, the Most High, sometimes that's why when you pray and you ask for something, the Most High don't always give it right away. He wants to see what?
Faith.
Yeah, we see faith. Yeah. So sometimes the Most High waits. Okay, he asked me this. Let me see what he gonna do. Understand?
Yeah, because you're consuming upon your lust.
Exactly. Exactly. You get it right away.
You get it right away. Yeah. You think you did it?
You do that with your children.
Yeah.
Okay, you want this allowance? Okay, do something. Do something around the house. Clean up something. Do something. Take the garbage out. Do something. Because if I give it to you right now, all you do is consume it upon your lust. And then when I ask you to take out the garbage, you're not going to want to do it. Y'all know that, right? You're not gonna want to do it.
Straight up disdain. Like, come on.
Now here's the flip side on Proverbs 28, 9 and 10.
Go ahead.
It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 28, verse 9. He that turneth away his ear from hearing the law, even his prayer shall be abomination.
And all these people out here praying. And the Most High said, you're an abominable individual. I'm not answering your prayer. Now, they may think their prayer is answered because Satan answered it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the Most High. So in their minds, they say, the Most High is with me. God, you know, you hear Steve Harvey, God did this for me. God did that for me. No, that was Satan that did that for you. Okay? And you got everybody thinking it was the Most High. It was Satan. Okay? So, again, like you said, right? If you want the Most High to answer your prayers, you got to first show a faithful heart. Right? A humble and faithful heart and a diligent spirit. Right? And following what the Most High wants.
That's right.
Right up. Read that again. That's a good one.
Verse 9. He that turneth away his ear from hearing the law, even his prayer shall be abomination. Wow. Verse 10. Whoso causeth the righteous to go astray in an evil way, he shall fall himself into his own pit.
And how do they do that? Celebrate Mother's Day.
Yeah.
So you're causing the righteous to go astray.
Come.
You hear all these news shows and radio programs talking about Mother's Day is coming and get flowers and all that. When Valentine's Day comes, they're saying that. When Christmas comes, they're saying that. When Easter comes, they're saying that. They're causing what?
People go astray.
People go astray.
So this whole society, man, is just causing people to go astray. Right? And anybody that teaches this stuff has that Jezebel spirit, seducing the congregation, seducing our people. Yeah.
Last part of it. But the upright shall have good things in possession.
There you go. Go ahead.
Con, when you read 1 John 3, 21 through 22, the context of the contract is 23. In this is his commandment that we should believe on the name of Jesus Christ.
Right.
And love one another as he gave us the commandments.
Right.
So we just excluded Ishmael.
Right.
We just excluded all the other
Right.
nations.
All the nations.
That is pertaining to Israel.
Right.
Come.
Exactly.
It's really keeping the commandments. I know
Yeah,
a lot of churches.
Yeah.
A lot of churches would read that and say, well, all it says is believe.
Believe.
No, it means belief, meaning you got to follow. You got to be in action to keep the commandments. That's what it means by belief. Because they say, and also when they say, all you got to do is say the name. Right? First, they don't even say the name Yahushua. They don't say the name in Hebrew. They say Jesus, which you know. Now you're saying the name of Satan.
Yeah.
But still, when Yahushua didn't mean just say my name and that's it. Because you can just say the name but not keep the commandments.
Good.
And in their mind, they think, well, I said the name, Okay, I'm blessed. No. Yahushua means say the name and follow.
Right.
Keep
Believe
the commandment.
on the name.
Yeah, believe on the name. You
Right.
gotta follow.
And belief is an action word.
Okay, just like that's how you said you got sons and daughters. Well, your sons and daughters, to honor the father and the mother, they got to do what? Keep the rules of the household.
Yeah.
See, that's honorable.
Yeah.
Understand? But to just say, well, yeah, I love my mother, but anything she tell me to do, I ain't gonna do it. Anything my father tell me to do, and of course, we're talking about a righteous father and mother. Well, I'm not gonna do whatever my father said, but I love him. No, you don't. No, you don't. That's why the Most High said, if you don't show the Most High that you love him, the Most High said, then I hate you.
Come.
And the Most High, because that's faith and love go together. If you got faith in the Most High and you love the Most High, then out of faith you're going to keep His commandments.
Come.
So it requires action. All right, because you're not going to say you love your wife, and if she asks you, to do something or buy some flowers or something, whatever. You know what I'm saying? You're going to go do it. Understand?
Right.
It's action, man. And that's the same thing, the love that we're supposed to have with the Most High. We're supposed to do it. Be a doer of the word, not
Not
just
only a hearer.
Yeah.
Come. All right. Yeah, anybody else got anything to add? I mean, oh man, this was beautiful, man. I mean, I didn't even expect it to run that long.
I know. Well, we just
No, it's a beautiful thing. Yeah, I mean, we brought that out. I mean, I talked to Tazapaya.
Yeah, y'all went straight to the point.
Yeah, we
Brought it
straight to the
out.
point. Yeah, and then brothers had the precepts, man. That was very, very beautiful. You know what I mean?
Kind.
And sisters in here, it's a beautiful thing that y'all
See,
magnify
sisters
and
here.
y'all in the truth. And
Absolutely.
y'all good mothers every day, and we
Yep.
honor y'all every day,
Yeah, we
man,
do.
up in here. It ain't got nothing to do with Mother's Day. The hell with Mother's
Yep.
Day. Yeah, I mean, the hell
Right.
with Mother's Day.
And we don't take y'all for granted, ladies. Women, we take y'all not for granted.
Yeah, because it's a beautiful thing to
It's
be
a beautiful
here.
thing to be here,
Yep.
and we're not perfect men either, so
Right.
we gotta balance things out as well.
Yep. And-
Exactly.
and we
But if
still
y'all
working trying
continue to
get
deal
ready.
with us and listen to us and trust us, because we gotta trust Yahushua, so that spirit, that we want to be good heads, like we want Yahushua is our good head. We want to be good heads for y'all,
Exactly. For our whole family.
for our whole family. So
not
y'all
even
can
just a family, man. I want to be a good hit for the nation.
well, for
you know
the
what I mean?
for the
Yeah.
nation, but your
You
ministry is
start-
going to
start
start
with your family.
It's going to start at home. That's your first one.
Come.
Right.
Once again, we want to give all praise, glory, and honor to the Most High Yahweh in the name of His Son Yahushua. Greetings to the 12 tribes of Israel who are scattered to the four corners of the globe, wherever you at watching. You know what I mean? You can watch our old videos here on Facebook at Rise of the Chosen. You can watch our old videos on YouTube at HCE Reloaded or Hebrew Chosen Elect 2. You can watch some of our older videos at Mikael 7. You can watch some of the elders breakdowns on Marshall Yasharallah on YouTube. We have an event page, 19th Annual Hebrew Summit, that you can go on and you can see any updates or any things that may be changed pertaining to the 19th Annual Hebrew Summit. If you'd like to give any alms for the Hebrew Summit, you can give at hashtag Mashar Yasharallah on the Cash App. Or if you'd like to give some alms to this conversation so we can continue our ministry, pass out flyers and just keep a roof over our head so that we're able to push out the word, you can give at hashtag Hebrew Chosen Elect. And with that, we say shalom. Kum Yasharallah! Kum Yasharallah! Kum Yasharallah! All praises.